Live from the Rant Radio Network, you're listening to Real Estate Rant with your host, Alex Alanis,
and your co-host, Mr. Alonso Rodriguez.
No problems, just solutions for real estate needs, hot topics, and controversial chat. And welcome to Real Estate Rant here at the towers of the Rant Radio Network.
It's a beautiful day here at the towers of the Rant Radio Network.
It's sure. I love the October weather. Actually, it's November now, right? November weather, sunny and cool. It's a little chilly, right? I like that. My name's Alex.
Best of both worlds.
Yeah, actually, pull up the mic there to you, Mr. Tanner, so we can hear you loud and clear.
Thank you, Alex.
I'm your host, Mr. Alex Alanis, and to my left here, my broker, Mr. Alonso Rodriguez. Absolutely. Thank you to our studio audience. Joining us in studio today, Mr. Tanner Gish from U.S. Bank, if I can say that.
You can, yeah. Thanks for having me, Alex. Great to be here.
The branch manager here in the city of Whittier, located right here on Whittier Boulevard. At the beginning of each show, we always do the design deal. And I do believe the engineer was able to help us with that this morning. You can win a $25 gift card to Stevens Steakhouse, located in the City of Commerce. Compliments of Joe and Don at the steakhouse. Or you can win a $200 professional teeth whitening from Garden Dental. They're at 7218 Garfield Avenue in the City of Bell Gardens. And, if you call in and you happen to guess what this is, and feel free to Google it, you can win one of those gift cards. Give us a call, 855-693-4897. And or you can give us a question, Alonso or myself, and or Mr. Tanner. You can give him a question. If you happen to have a question during the show, give us a call. The number's up on the screen there, 855-693-4897. You can also email us, realestaterantradio@gmail.com. Now, we can't get to the email during the show, but after the show, we'll take them out. We'll check out the questions that you might send over. Alonso usually gets those emails. What do we got for last week, Mr. Alonso?
Today's question comes out of Lancaster. This is Mark, and he wanted to know, if I evict a tenant, it appears they have left, how many days is it legal to change the locks, etc.? Or do I still have to go through a court system?
If they've left the property, wow, that's a loaded question. I don't know the answer to that. Okay, so let me understand. So he's the landlord.
He's the landlord. They apparently abandoned the house. So now he wants to know how many days does he have, or does he have to go to a process to change the locks, or maybe board up windows or anything so that they won't access a property.
In my experience, it usually, because I kind of remember working for a BPO company or an REO company out in LA, where we couldn't change the locks or board up the windows until all the personal property was out. It was what we call broom swept. And so I think the question would lie whether or not there was any property left there, personal property specifically. But
well,
did you have a thought, Tanner?
I was going to say, I'm the lawyer, but if you need financing for those new locks, new doors, I can help with that.
Oh, really? Okay. All right. So U.S. Bank can help you with that stuff.
There's about where my expertise lies in terms of evicting. So,
right on. Okay.
That's about it.
Okay, so on that end of it, personal property is left on the property. So it's questionable whether or not they have really left.
I mean, I want to contradict you and kind of say no. I mean, if you can enter the property and confirm the abandonment, and if they abandon the property, then you legally have the right to change the locks right away.
Okay. So that's the answer.
That is the answer. So, I believe that is the answer. I mean, like I said,
to go in and just change
as
the
long
locks.
as they confirm the abandonment, and if they confirm the abandonment, if they enter and it's abandoned, regardless if they left personal property behind, they have the right as a landlord to change the locks right away.
Even though there might be maybe a TV, a refrigerator, a stove, stuff that belongs to them.
If they abandon the property, like I said, you enter to confirm the abandonment.
Yeah, but how do you know? How do you know they've abandoned?
Well, I believe the question says if they've abandoned the property.
Oh, so they've been gone for like 3 or 4 days or something.
They want to know, they want to know what how many days before they can change it. And like I said, as long as they confirm the abandonment, and obviously, I believe that previous matters would matter if they're paying the rent or vice versa. I mean, of course, if they're paid up to date and they haven't gone home for a week or two, then of course, then you will they haven't abandoned it. I mean, there has to be some other stipulations before you can go out and change. If maybe they're behind 2-3 months on the rent.
Yeah, so abandonment would include not paying the rent, obviously.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, like I said, we are no lawyers, but you know, we are just simple opinions and of past experience. You know, I own a couple of rental property myself, where you know this issue has arisen, and you know, based on past experience, I'm just giving my personal opinion.
Okay, no, and I understand. The other thing that I think would matter, because I mentioned personal property, because these are the gray areas of eviction, okay, would be the utilities, you know, whether or not the utilities have been turned off.
Well,
right?
that's one of the things. You as a landlord, you're not allowed to turn off the utilities or cut them off from power or water, because then you have you violated tenant rights. You know,
Yeah.
it's a tricky matter there.
I believe the civil code is 1941. And,
Yes.
and ultimately, what I meant by the whole utility thing is that have the tenants turned off the utilities. See, because that's when tenancy becomes questionable. You know, just because their physical presence isn't there, you know, they could potentially be on vacation or away from for a few days.
Well,
You know, that's where it becomes questionable. So do we need an unlawful detainer? Ultimately, is the question. Even though that's not what they said, but does the landlord need an unlawful detainer? You know, I think it's questionable. I think that's a question for an attorney.
Yes, it is a question for the attorney, and like I said, on past experience, we had situation where on some of the property we own, that you know the utilities were turned off, everything was shut off, but they were actually still living there, you know, burning candles and living there. So we really couldn't confirm the abandonment, you know. So it's a tricky matter, and it's very risky of you entering the property and they're still there. I mean, you could get yourself into some lawsuits and tie it up even more. And like I said, when you own property, time is of the essence. You need to have those rented and rent it quickly so you can cover your mortgage on them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's
Alonso, so in your experience, so let's take a step back from there. How does a landlord protect themselves from those types of situations?
my best opinion is doing your due diligence when you're renting the property, proper screening.
Yeah, screening the tenants, right?
Screening the tenants, proper screening, and you know, really, once the rent isn't paid on time, it's really a subject matter of getting a qualified eviction personnel or attorney. Because I said, like, if you drag it and procrastinate, then you know you're losing out, because then it gives them more time to sit in your property without paying rent.
Rent free.
Yes, and exactly, and as Mr. Tanner knows, you know, we need to send out those bills before we get a letter in the mail saying, you know, your mortgage isn't being paid.
Gee, I haven't seen Mr. Rodriguez come into the bank today.
Yeah,
you know, he usually comes in pretty regularly. I better give him a call.
And that's because he's out there. And that's because he's out there dealing, trying to get these tenants, these tenants that aren't paying out of the rental properties.
You know, tenants and not paying is usually kind of synonymous at some point, right?
So all those people who plan on getting into a rental property or wish to own rental property, those are some of the things you can look forward to.
Yeah. Well, the other thing that I was going to mention about landlord protection, because you mentioned screening. I mean, obviously that's the obvious answer. But something now on the surface is that when they do start to have this behavior of non-payment and being late about things, the landlord really has to be on top of things. Like you said, if you can hire a service that does good work in terms of giving them their 3-day pay or quit, giving them the 14-day notice, unlawful detainer, that kind of thing. Because if you wait, like you said, you're ultimately losing money. They're just playing the game.
Yes, and mind you, Alex, that eviction it's a very how can I say it, a detailed process where it has to be done to the perfection so that it could be done right, and you can go into court and get them in there in the first shots. And you know, tenants nowadays, they seem to get smarter and they get these legal advice, and you know, it buys them a lot of time. And unfortunately for us as landlords, then we have to pay the consequences of, you know, getting that 30-day late on our mortgage. And you know, and when we want to try to refinance, and you know, we got to write these letters of explanation trying to explain why, you know, we're behind on our mortgage payment.
Well, understandably, the question came from a landlord, but let's play both ends here. You mentioned the legal resources that tenants have. There are free services that tenants can call and talk to an attorney about these issues. And they find loopholes in it all. And then the landlords, are pulling their hair out because they can't seem to just run an honest business. Hey, I'm renting this property out. I expect to get my rent check, but these tenants are finding all kinds of ways not to pay.
Fortunately, there is those services, but it has also a downside because now, if you're a landlord, you're going to want to report that and make sure it's on their credit rating so that when they, again, try to rent property from some other landlord, then they're going to have a harder time, and that's the way we can protect ourselves as landlords is to really try to process them and make sure that they're not getting away with it with just, living there for free.
Yeah, we can't have any of that.
Somebody has to pay the bills.
We have about 50 seconds left here. Was there another question, Alonso, that we?
Well, actually, that's the only question I got for this week, Alex.
Okay.
But I'm sure there's more coming in, and we'll get around to them next week.
All right. So, Mr. Pantalones, if you may, let's take a look at the design deal again. You can win a $25 gift card to Stevens Steakhouse, located in the City of Commerce. Compliments of Joe and Don. Joe being the owner of Stevens Steakhouse there in the City of Commerce. Thank you very much for your support. You can also win a $200 teeth whitening from Garden Dental Group. They are at 7218 Garfield Avenue in the City of Bell Gardens. Now, both of these companies have supported us. Have supported the real estate rant here because they enjoy what we do, and we appreciate their support. If you give us a call at 855-693-4897, let us know what this design is. Feel free to Google it if you feel the need to. I don't know. Is that cheating, Tanner?
I don't know. I mean, I hear you can do these photo searches, so.
Our lovely operators are standing by, eager to take your call.
Absolutely.
My guess would be it's a house, but I'm guessing you're looking for something more specific than that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Coming up on the break, Mr. Tanner Gish from U.S. Bank. He is the branch manager here in the City of Whittier, and we will be talking about the banking processes as well as their products.
Don't touch that mouse. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with some more Real Estate Rant.
Are you watching the game at home? Why? Come watch it at Mambo Grill, the hottest spot in Downey. You'll have good food, drinks, and a great time at a low price. We have the coldest beer in our sports bar, where you can enjoy the game on any of our huge flat screen TVs. And when your home team wins, you get 25% off anything in Mambo Grill. We're on Downey Avenue, 1 block north of Firestone, or visit us on the web. Mambo Grill, love at first bite.
Do we have your attention? When it comes to tequila, two things matter: heart and passion. Never compromising integrity for mass production. Number one, tequila delivers the goods. Taste the heart and passion of Mexico in every bottle. We make it right. We make it fun. Superior tequila. There's only number one. There's only number one. There's only number one.
Been in an accident? Then you need your vehicle professionally repaired. That's exactly what you get when you bring your vehicle to Greg's Auto Body Repair. 3 quotes within minutes. We will provide everything you need for a hassle-free auto body repair, from an accurate estimate to working with your insurance company. We will get your vehicle to its pre-accident condition as soon as possible. Greg's Auto Body has been serving Los Angeles County and local cities since 1970. Call us at 562-789-1300.
A home is the biggest investment in most people's lives. Buying or selling should be a positive experience.
Whether you want to be a wealthy real estate investor or just trying to find a place to call home. At AJR & Associates, we focus on the client's needs.
We understand the market better than most. Let us bring the value to you and make the right choice.
AJR & Associates, making your dream house a reality. Call us today for a free consultation at 562-882-1976. Or you can log on to www.hrrealtors.com.
With a track record of great results, bringing knowledge, wisdom, and expertise to you.
hablamos español.
ProTech Carpet Tile and Care provides professional cleaning services for carpet, tile, grout, upholstery, and fine area rugs.
ProTech technicians are professionally cleaning and restoration experts.
Specialize in restoring damage caused by heavy soil and odor.
We can remove challenging spots such as coffee, tea, ink, gum, wine, and many more.
We have saved our customers thousands of dollars on new flooring and furniture expenses with our advanced cleaning processes.
Call for a free estimate at 562-447-4300 and visit us on our website, www.myprotectsite.com.
Hey, this is Joe Perez, owner at ProTech. Just reminding you that ProTech Carpet and Tile Care is your professional choice.
Live on the Rant Radio Network,
You're listening to Real Estate Rant with your host, Alex Alanis.
And your co-host, Mr. Alonso Rodriguez.
No problems, just solutions for real estate needs, hot topics, and controversial chat. And welcome back to Real Estate Rant here at the Towers of the Rant Radio Network. I'm your host, Mr. Alex, and to my left here, Mr.
You're not so talented co-host.
Oh, there we go with that. Hey, you know what?
Humble co-host, right?
Humble co-host. That's a little better.
You know, he always says that, but I got to say, Mr. Alonso is a character that we need on the show. He really is.
Character. Can you put that? Show some respect, Mr. Pantalones.
Yeah, no. There he comes.
I think
I don't hear it.
I think
There it is.
There
There it is. No.
Hey, show me some respect, boy.
I would like to think that I'm more the cognitive side of the show, but Alonso now is the voice of reason.
Our engineer
you
likes
go.
to call him Diva.
The yin to the yang.
Yeah. Oh, you had to throw that in there, didn't you? Okay, I'm a little bit of a diva. I like to have a good show. You know, what can I say? Give us a call, 855-693-4897, or you can email us at realestaterantradio@gmail.com. In studio today, Mr. Tanner Gish, branch manager of U.S. Bank here in Whittier. You can reach him at 562-698-2525. That's 562-698-2525. He can answer some of your questions, but we would like a phone call if you have a question for Mr. Tanner. Oh, look at that.
Oh, wow.
Welcome to our show, Mr. Tanner.
Welcome,
Glad to be
sir.
here.
How are
Yeah.
you?
I didn't know I had myself on speed dial.
Yeah, well, yeah, look at that. That's kind of nice.
Is that your mother calling, Mr. Tanner? Like last week's guest, we had week's guest.
Did you tell your mom you were on the show today?
Like last week's guest? Oh, it's my mom. And
Yeah, so anyway, Mr. Tanner, short introduction if you may.
Sure, absolutely. Thanks again for having me on the show, guys. Been a lot of fun
it's a
being
pleasure
here
to
so
have
far.
you, and we like to have anyone that can, ensure the public trust is our mojo of our show, so that anyone that can help our show and give us some informative information is more than welcome on our show.
Yeah,
So we're glad to have you, Mr. Tanner.
Great. Thanks, Alonzo. Yeah, it's been a pleasure getting to know you guys. So a little bit about myself. I know
Yeah.
we were talking beforehand. Been a branch manager here in Whittier for going on a couple years now. And really, it's been great. I mean, banking as a whole has been going through a lot of change, over the last few years. But it's fun to be riding that wave and be a part of breaking things and seeing how that's going to affect the future. And we were chatting a little bit earlier just about, how does one transition into banking and kind of what's my story there. Stories are always fun to share. My story is really similar actually to our CEO. He always says this, that many people in banking are accidental bankers. Because you think about it, go to a typical first grade playground, you see a lot of kids dressed up as firemen, police officers, fighter jet pilots. You don't see a lot of people going around
SpongeBob.
acting like they have ties. SpongeBob, yeah. Not a lot of them are going on acting like they have ties and saying, I'm going to be a banker.
Actually, it's a little funny you mentioned that, because we just had Halloween, that past Halloween, and
That's true.
I had made some AGR and Associates baseball caps, which is our company, and my daughter, she found some of those glasses, those nerd glasses, and she put on the hat and she put on the glasses and she said, "Dad, I'm a real estate agent." And I was laughing, So it's funny to say that kids have an imagination sometimes,
That
and
they do.
And nowadays, I mean, close enough to a banker. There's the nerd costumes. I seen a lot of those, coming. Nice little kid with the little bow tie or a nice necktie with the little preppy shirt. And then to them, it's dress up day, it's fun.
There you go.
For us in the real world, it's, looking professional.
They'll get it. They'll get it. You
Yeah.
got to figure out what the real estate diva costume looks like. I'd really like to see
Oh
what
yeah,
that
look at
turns out
that.
to be.
Well, that's a different show. We'll have to cover that another time. But obviously, Tanner, you didn't just become a branch manager. I mean, there was probably a lot of training and a lot of experience that you had to go through in order to get to be a branch manager.
Let me ask a
right,
question
that's
before
right.
we move
Yeah, go
on to
ahead,
that
go ahead.
question. You're awfully young to look like a branch manager. Did you start when you right out of high school with banking?
I
Or?
started when I was 5, actually.
Oh, all right.
No.
All right.
Yeah, right.
No, good point. And great thing about banking is that there's all sorts of avenues into it. And my route is similar to many where, to really know things like the back of your hand, many people start in at that teller level. Many people may think, oh, that's a good job if you're, part-time through high school, putting yourself through college. But really, you can be gleaning lots of experience to then see your career take off from there. My particular story is I started with the bank in really a awesome leadership development program. At a time when our economy was in a state of uncertainty, U.S. Bank, from their position of strength, said, "Hey, you know what? We want to make some bold moves here. We want to really be investing in the future leadership." And I was a part of a class that came on, and you kind of go through starting from step one. You don't just jump over the basics, but being a teller, banker, assistant manager, small business, HR rotations, go through all those things to give you that kind of solid background.
And
that's pretty involved.
One of the things that I've noticed is that a lot of banking institutions, they have those ROP programs where they get students that are in high school and help them out and get to know or be familiar with the bankers. So with the banking system, or so I guess that's how I can kind of explain more or less why why as a manager you look so young. Or it's either that or you're using some good aging cream.
Good vitamins, huh?
Good vitamins, yeah. Just take your pill every morning. But yeah, I know for myself, I really wanted to be in the finance industry in particular. And the reason for that is through different jobs, I had learned about business owners who always said, you know what, there's one thing I regret, or one thing that I wish I knew a little bit more. It was that accounting, that finance. Fortunately, I got Fred, my CPA, or Jose, my attorney, to help me out on the things that I'm not an expert in. But personally, being able to look at something and understand it, both for their own benefit and then also to perhaps counsel or advise others, was something they'd really wanted. And so for me, I knew that early on, I wanted to be developing, becoming an expert in that, not just so I could be knowledgeable. And even earlier when we were talking about that eviction question, there's so much knowledge that's available on both sides of any party or transaction to be able to know that I can protect myself, but also how can I make the dreams and realities of other people happen too?
So that kind of leads us into what does a branch manager do? Understanding the training that it takes, because it sounds pretty involved, and you're actually very articulate. Okay, so what does a branch manager do? What is it? I can't say that I've only encountered maybe branch managers when I go into the branch, but now we met outside of the branch.
That's correct.
Right,
Yeah,
and so
that's
that's
together.
I could say that's been somewhat of an experience with listening to some of the things that you have to offer.
Sure.
And so maybe just a little tidbit, if you will, about what do you do at the bank?
Yeah, what does a day in the life look like?
Yeah.
So as a manager, kind of as the title would suggest, obviously a big part of it is developing and investing my team. I got the chance to kind of share a little bit about kind of my career and my story. If I can invest in somebody else who wants to see their career grow, them to develop as, like we are here, professionals in our respective industries, that is a core of what drives and motivates me, and developing and coaching and helping people on their career is a big thing there. But I say it's probably about half of it. For myself, at least, I like to take a lot of ownership of the specific community I'm in, because I believe that in the banking industry, we really are about making dreams happen for people. How many people could, and we're here on a real estate show, could own their own home if they had to save up $300,000, $400,000, $600,000 to be able to buy it? Not many.
Yeah,
So
it wouldn't happen very often.
It wouldn't happen. Yeah, we'd all be out of jobs, right? But the great thing is that by providing things like mortgages, the dream of American home ownership can happen. And maybe we'll talk more about this a little bit later, but other things we do too. How many people could really be adequately prepared for their retirement if their hard-earned, sweat and money, was not put into something that would actually earn a return for them to counteract against inflation? All these things we do to make security and safety in retirement, the ability to finance a college education for your kids, realities and dreams for people. So that's obviously what we do when people come into our branch, but I'm also out in the community, meeting you guys like Alex over at breakfasts and things like that, to meet business owners, meet people who are, active, involved, and caring in their community, and just know that we're here. Hey, what dream do you have? Let me share in that. How can I be a part of that? That's awesome.
And that's a very good point you brought up, because a lot of people like myself, I mean, we don't know what we have. I have an IRA account, and it's invested in some sort of thing. I get my statement every month. I don't know how much interest it's making until one individual, and he's not a banker, but he actually told me, let me look at your IRA. And I gave him the statements. It was in the 6-month process that I had it. It was it had accumulated 12 cents. So I was like, wow. And so he took it and he goes, let me do something with it. I mean, I had no knowledge of what to do with it. I gave him the paperwork. He opened an account, and in 4 days I had the $7 increase on it. Just on him putting it in the right, I believe it's a stock option or what. I mean, like I said, I don't know what it is, but he invested the money, and he in other avenues that it was, and I seen an increase in 4 days of what I had made in 6 months. So I was like, wow, it's a tricky matter, and that's something that I didn't know I know I had it. A company provided it.
It almost seems like wherever you had the IRA at, that you weren't being serviced properly, because somebody obviously at the bank, whoever sold you that product, they didn't take the time to service you now after the fact.
I believe that's what it is, and they invested conservatively, so you would always have I guess your money. You're not an aggressive account, so that you won't lose any money. But 12 cents in 6 months versus $7 in 4 days. I was like, wow, just keep on putting it on the aggressive account.
That's right. Keep it rolling.
Keep it rolling, exactly.
But I'm a gambler. Let it ride.
I gotta say, I'm somewhat impressed by U.S. Bank, because they've actually have authorized you now to come out and talk about these things.
That's right.
And make your presence known. Mm-hmm. You're making your presence known in the community, not just as a large corporate bank, if you will. There's a lot of them out there. But more as an individual.
That's right. And I mean, and people do business with other people. They don't do it with the billboard they pass by in the freeway,
exactly.
or necessarily an ATM. I mean, those are great conveniences, but really business, as you guys know, is about relationships. So operate on referrals, and I mean, the greater extent that I can be out and letting people know, hey, here's the face you can trust, and I can be kind of that center spoke in the wagon, so to speak, of your solutions, providing financial guidance for any things like your IRA to where your mortgage is. Are you really saving or earning the kind of money that you really deserve to be making? That's why I wake up every day. It's an awesome job.
Well, I'm driving down the street, right? I'm driving my car, and I have a question about what is I'm going to do. I don't know the branch managers at my banks.
That's one of the things when we run into the bank is we're not looking forward to sitting there and talking to them. We want to get in there, cash our checks, and we're out.
Get our cash, right?
Get our cash, and
the fast-paced
we're taking off to spend it.
We're up on a break.
Hold that thought. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with some more real estate Rant.
Add some crazy flavor to your vape pen. You're looking for something new and exciting in liquid vapor? Go to Crazy Cloud's e-juice. Find them at burstoflavor.com and try any of the new 12 flavors they have available: blueberry, mint, raspberry, chocolate, gummy bear, hemp, watermelon, cola, orange, pina colada, coconut, or Red Bully. Call us today at 855-WE-BURST or visit us at burstoflavor.com and order yours today.
The Share Foundation is the health division of the Coy Chiropractic Institute, a 501c3 509A2 public nonprofit organization dedicated to the growth and development of the natural health care services, in particular through the chiropractic profession, offering health services at the Share clinics in the greater Los Angeles area. Your donations can help in expanding these facilities across the nation, research programs, and public education, thus offering a solution to the many of the health challenges we face. Your donations are tax-deductible and can be sent through our website at www.sharefoundation.com. That's www.cherfoundation.com by clicking on the donation button. Thank you.
The experts know that for pastry, Baker's Bodega has it all. Exclusive brands like Westco Bankmark, Satin Ice, and Pastry Pride. One-on-one day seminars for cake decorating and gelatin art. So for our service, wide range of ingredients and supplies, and for the low prices, Baker's Bodega has it all. But you don't need to be an expert. Baker's Bodega, 7869 Paramount Boulevard in Pico Rivera. Come, we're waiting for you.
Hey, bro, this is a good game. You know what would make it better?
What, bro?
A michelada.
A michelada? What's a michelada?
A michelada is somewhere in the middle of a Mexican Bloody Mary and a Mexican margarita.
Oh, I got you covered, bro.
You got a cup in your pocket?
No, sir. I got my pocket-sized michelada. Mucho macho michelada.
Pocket size?
Pocket size, so you can take it with you anywhere you go.
Where'd you get that at?
At the nearest convenience store, and you can also buy it at muchomachomichelada.com.
You know what would make it better? After we get drunk, if they had a line we could call.
We can call their drunk line. You can leave a message and then log on to the site and listen to your stupidity afterwards.
What's that number?
It's 855-MICHE-69.
What's that number again?
855-MICHE-69.
Awesome. Mucho Macho Michelada.
What's up, guys? Sports Guru and Bud Knocker from the Sportscast Wednesdays, 12 to 2 Pacific on Rant Radio Network.
We got everything you need to know about sports. We got all the latest video highlights. Hit of the week. We're talking sports, drinking beer, and having a good time.
If you missed the show, go to rantradionetwork.com and listen on demand. So check us out every Wednesday, 12 to 2 on Rant Radio Network.
Live from the Rant Radio Network,
You're listening to Real Estate Rant with your host, Alex Alanis.
and your co-host, Mr. Alonso Rodriguez.
No problems, just solutions for real estate needs, hot topics, and controversial chat. And we are back to the Real Estate Rant here at the bottom of the hour. November 9th today? Is today?
No, my night.
Today's the 6th. Today's the 6th, isn't it?
5th or 6th.
See, I'll tell you, even at the Real Estate Rant, we're off a little bit. You know, time, the month. I think I started off with October.
Yeah, I think you did, yeah.
So anyway,
We're figure out time travel on the show.
We are in November now, right?
It's the
unique,
6th,
yeah.
I believe. It is the correct date is the 6th. For all our listeners out there, we're on the 6th.
Thank you, and Alonso is always my my sounding board for that kind of information because
that voice of reason you said earlier.
He does all the research on that.
I just looked at the outline and it said the 6th, so I was kind of pretty sure it's the 6th.
Look at that! I wrote it down.
You're
You know,
smarter
look
than
at that. I'm your host, Mr. Alex Alanis, and to my left here, Mr. Alonso Rodriguez. He is my broker with AGR and Associates, and joining us in studio, Mr. Tanner Gish, branch manager. See, look at that, branch manager from U.S. Bank here in the city of Whittier. You can reach him at 562-698-2525, or you can email him at tanner.gish. That's Gish at usbank.com. You can also visit their website, www.usbank.com. Give us a call, 855-693-4897, or you can email us at realestaterantradio@gmail.com. If I said that too fast, just rewind the show.
May I
Look at that. It's like a DVR, you know?
May I add that Mr. Tanner's entrance was pretty impressive. I seen him parachute out of the U.S. Tower building into our studio audience. So
What are you talking about? Where's the US Tower? Oh, it's back here, right?
Over there.
Oh, it's over here. Oh, there it is.
I seen him
Okay.
parachute down.
Yeah, that was impressive. It was like a Van Halen concert, you know?
There you go.
I gotta love that.
I only get to do that 2 times a year, so
That was one
You
of
guys are
them.
lucky
We
you
were
got to see
lucky
it.
to have that one.
Yeah, Tanner was commenting about what it's like to be a branch manager there at U.S. Bank. Also, that they've given them really the authority to now jump out into the community and meet people and really have some good exposure as to just having a personal relationship with somebody at the bank, which is nice for me. I'm a U.S. Bank customer, and now.
And I think that's pretty awesome. Where now you don't have to be there those 9 hours at the bank, where you can come out and you're working, right? You're working, meeting people, and advising
Well,
people.
you're working
Just like
now.
you guys.
You're
That's
working
right.
now.
Yep.
Yeah,
It's
so
about
that's,
it's about telling the story,
Yeah,
and
so
you can get a
that's,
part of other people's stories, and the
That's
dream
great
making.
because I remember when I was doing mortgages, I was in there those long hours, and I just needed to go out. I just needed to go out. I was like,
hey, but isn't that when they used to be able to smoke inside, and you would always walk out? I remember this as a kid.
Well,
you'd walk
actually-
out of some of these offices and they all smell like smoke.
Well, actually, I was working at the time at the Countrywide and over there by the Montebello Mall. So we actually had a little bus that would take us to the mall,
Oh, okay.
to do our little walking or get our meals there or our lunch. So that was some kind of experience. But still, I couldn't be in that building for that much hours.
So it was more about not about the smoke.
No, not about the smoke.
Talk about smoke and mirrors, right? So now the function of a bank. Okay, I think we talked about this a little bit yesterday when we were doing the outline. And you mentioned the function of a bank and what it is that they do. So I'll just kind of read verbatim what I put here on the outline. Explain how customers' money can be saved and protected. I mean, those are the things that I would think of. This is why I put my money in the bank. Is number one, I'm trying to save the money because if I leave it in my pocket, it kind of burns a hole, doesn't it, Ellen?
Oh yes,
and,
it does.
And the other thing is just to protect it. Nobody can get to it. Can't get ripped off from me. All these things. I'm protected from these things.
That's what I believe the FDIC is. Can you elaborate a little bit on that, Mr. Tanner, and let us know what the FDIC is, and for all the laymen out there, so that don't know, we want to know what it is and what protections does a bank have over our money with those laws in place.
And that's a great question. And I think there's many people who, as much as whether it's cultural backgrounds or just where they're fitting in, may not quite understand banking in America, the security that's there. I mean, they may hear that, all the politicians are FDIC at the end of every single radio commercial, but not really know what that means.
What does that stand for?
But
what
the FDIC was actually created in the wake of the Great Depression originally, where have been times of economic turbulence that our nation has seen. And what the government has said is, hey, we want to ensure that there is that sense of security, that guarantee, that assurance that people who put their money in the bank can have, so that you don't have to worry about your house going up and with it all the money you have stored under the mattress, but knowing that it's safe and that it's secure. So for many years, the FDIC said that if you have $100,000 per depositor there in the bank, that, so long as you had that much or below, say this bank were to collapse, like many did in the Great Depression, and there have been several banks just within the last few years with the turbulence of this recession that have had to merge into others or change in other ways, be a part of different mergers where that was the case.
And that reminds me of the state. I reminisce and I think back and said people jumping out of buildings when the market crashed, because they were so upset that their money was gone.
They just lost their house and their kids' college education.
Exactly, and not being insured. Then where do you go now? Where do I start? And that's what's in place with the FDIC is that you have that peace of mind now that, who cares? Let that bank burn and my money with it. I'm going to get paid. The government is going to give me my money.
Well, those individuals that were jumping out of windows, I think that what they did is they took a risk and the risk didn't pay off. So they lost everything.
But I know it had to do with the banking.
And this has to do with the banks actually lessen that risk. Mm-hmm. Am I right about that?
That's right. I mean, we've talked about if you've been working hard to store up that money, you absolutely want the security that it's not going to go anywhere.
Well, exactly.
And especially in light of the turmoil we've seen, I mean, the FDIC, knowing that, has even increased that amount they guarantee to $250,000 per third depositor. So it's something that the government, banks are always working together to make sure that's monitored, so that they know that there is that incentive and there is that good reason. But even in addition to that. That kind of security piece of it, there's also the convenience. I mean, if you have to go buy a new, $25,000 car off of the Toyota lot, you're probably not going to roll up there with a stack of Benjamins, But to be able to write checks, to be able to use your debit card, online banking is an incredible way these days that people can go ahead and transfer money. Like I could go with my cell phone and send, $50. Hey, thanks for having me on the show, Alex, and send it over.
I have that application.
It's worth having. It's just great how it can just add that convenience to your life, especially you talk about, hey, when I think banking, I'm thinking go in, get the cash, get out. We love to get to know you, but we understand the speed of life in the society. And there's just so many tools that when you are banked, that you can do that.
Do you guys also provide like the little cube where you just, people.
Oh, like a square?
Yeah, the square. I don't have money on me. Okay, I got my little square. Slide your card. Give me your card. Here you go.
The credit card processing.
That's right.
Well, that kind of brings me to one of the biggest things, and this now making the connection out to the real estate show, is that the big dreadful word mortgage. U.S. Bank provides mortgages.
We absolutely do.
Yeah. So how is banking, and I won't just say U.S. Bank, but just banking in general,
Yeah.
differ from mortgage lenders?
Good question.
Because that we're kind of jumping forward a little bit, but that's the question in my mind.
Yeah, so probably, I mean, many people, if you add kind of a third, I guess, part to that, what's the difference between a, loan broker and, a lender and a bank or things like that? I always counsel any customer or any friend or family member that I'm dealing with to, when you're looking for a loan, I mean, you can deal with different parties, but I think it makes a lot of good sense to look with what's called a direct lender. And banks are that, as well as some other mortgage lenders where perhaps that's all they do. They don't necessarily do the deposits and things, like that in addition to it. And essentially all that means is that you're getting your money, directly from some of these groups that we may talk about earlier, where basically the money's coming directly to you. They're not going to another party to then go ahead and actually get the loan and provide it to you.
And I would tend to think that it's a little bit a speedier process, especially if it's one of your clients that actually banks with your bank and is getting a loan there, because I mean, you already have all their credit history, you know how much they're depositing, you got the bank statements, you got a lot of the stuff that you're going to need when you're applying for a mortgage. So that's one of the ways I look at it as an advantage going into a bigger branch and and getting a direct loan from your bank. I always encourage my clients to go to their bank. Go to your bank. They have all your your deposits made. They know how much money you have in there. So if they're going to qualify you, they should be able to give you a pre-approval letter on the spot, or a pre-qual letter on the spot.
And we talked about relationships earlier, and that's absolutely true. I mean, a bank that can see what your deposit history is like, can verify perhaps direct deposit streams of income you have coming in, is a great way to know that, hey, we know you, we can vouch for you in many ways. We have lots of your information, and time is of the essence. I mean, we know that in, this year's market especially, and that's, absolutely what your bank is there for, and so what we're there for.
And not only that, I tend to see that banks are black and white. You either can do it or you can't do it, and if you can't do it, then you know what? Okay, then go to the mortgage broker that
can't.
You can or can't, and if you can't, then
that's usually what I hear from.
then let's go, and it makes it a lot easier for us, because they're right. They ran to their bank. They already told them no, so we got that out of the way. Now we don't got them. Where we're halfway through the escrow, and now they want to go apply with their bank.
Oh yeah.
Their bank already told them no. Okay, now let's look at the alternative way. Let's find a solution to that problem. Because if their bank wasn't able to do it, then there's other lenders that have different regulations or different, how can I say it, lesser restrictions.
Well, it has to do with its risk factors.
Risk factors, exactly. Yeah. Risk factors. And I mean, because the bottom line, it's investors' money. It's not the bank's money. It's investors' money. And some investors have different, criteria, some qualifying criteria where as a bank, I would tend that their criteria are a lot stricter than any other ones.
It's just funny that you put it that can't and can't, because it seems like every time I walk in there, they can't do it. I shouldn't laugh, but it's just it's just my luck.
I think it's because the bank is more conservative on what they're gonna loan their money on, and I mean, or correct me if I'm wrong, Tanner. Is that something you guys look in or consider? The risk factor, or
Well, it's absolutely a part of the picture, just like it is for any mortgage lender, right? I mean, I think one lesson that we've learned since 2008 is there were some industry-wide practices that maybe weren't so smart when it came to the kind of this risk side of things. And I mean, one thing that is neat is that every group will have different options, and every bank will have different options too. There's of course if we're going to, and we can debrief it a little bit more. I mean, ultimately mortgages will typically get sold back to Fannie and Freddie, but there's a lot of cool options that you can kind of work around that. Yeah, we'll go ahead and take a break. Too much to fit in.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back with some more real estate Rant.
Looking for a delicious, fresh family meal that's ready when you are and easy on your budget? Welcome to Piara Pizza. We make our pizzas with handmade dough, 100% real cheese, and tomato sauce blended with our own spices. Nothing is ever frozen. We always have large pepperoni and cheese pizzas fresh and waiting for you for only $5. Or choose one of our specialty pizzas. We have veggie, meat lovers, supreme, and Hawaiian. Add an order of our amazing hot wings, cheesy bread, or breadsticks. Our locations are ultra modern, ultra clean, and open 7 days a week. Visit any one of our locations today, or check us out on the web at www.piarapizza.com. Piara Pizza. Fresh, hot, and ready for you when you come in. Stop in for your Piara Pizza today.
ProTech Carpet Tile and Care provides professional cleaning services for carpet, tile, gravel, and fine area rugs.
ProTech technicians are professionally trained and certified restoration experts.
We specialize in restoring damage caused by heavy soil and odor.
We can remove challenging spots such as coffee, tea, ink, gum, wine, and many more.
We have saved our customers thousands of dollars on new flooring and furniture expenses with our advanced cleaning processes.
Call for a free estimate at 562-447-4300 and visit us on our website, www.myprotechsite.com.
Hey, this is Joe Perez, owner at ProTech. Just reminding you that ProTech Carpet and Tile Care is your professional choice.
What's wrong?
I can't stop craving a cigarette. I just quit. Hey, what are you smoking on?
Oh, this? Best e-juice on the planet. Burst of flavor, of course.
What's that?
Only the best alternative to smoking with a great flavor. It has a burst of flavor in every puff.
Well, does it have nicotine?
It comes in different levels, including 0. They have 20 flavors and more coming. All the products are made in the U.S. Check them out at www.burstoflavor.com or call them at 855-WE-BURST.
Hey, let's burst together.
It's not just flavor, it's an experience. Cigarettes, you've met your match.
Number one. Number one.
Is that a stutter or as high as you can count?
I was ordering number one tequila.
Everybody's asking for number one.
Great, another fancy bottle.
These guys are true artists. Never compromise integrity. They make tequila
Come
in the
on.
old-fashioned way. Never mass-produced.
So what are you saying?
I'm saying have the number one. Anything less is number two. Number one, tequila.
Everyone, even Elvis loves Firehouse Chefs.
Catch FHC Radio every Wednesday from 8 to 9 p.m. on the Rant Radio Network.
Live from the Rant Radio Network,
You're listening to Real Estate Rant with your host, Alex Alanis,
and your co-host, Mr. Alonso Rodriguez.
No problems, just solutions for real estate needs, hot topics, and controversial chat.
Welcome back, Mr. Tanner. And we left off where you were talking about you were going into portfolio lender. Elaborate on that and let us know what is other options that we have with regarding. How can I say it? Help me out, Alex. I'm
getting
coming
that
up.
we can versus we can't.
Yes,
right?
exactly. There we go. There we go.
We like the can, not the cannot.
We
you know?
do like
Yeah.
the cans. Yep. We're doing the can after
Yeah,
the show.
yeah, well, yeah,
Yep.
well, the can, yeah. We can do it on the show, but we'd rather not, you know.
Yeah, that's okay. I might, I don't know if I wore the right tights for that.
Right on.
Can is that a dance or what is that? Or is that?
We were thinking about with the can tip, you know.
Oh, okay. I was like, kick the can, you know.
I was thinking
kick the
dancing,
can.
but-
Okay, there you go.
Okay, yeah, fun as well.
You know, Diet Coke, don't get nasty, you know.
But yeah, great question, and try to kind of keep things concise. Is that there are of course loans that many people will make. People being lenders that have to conform to certain risk guidelines because they're ultimately going to get sold to groups called Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac. We might talk about those later. But one thing that a bank can do is they're also what's called a portfolio lender, which means they have options where they can assess that risk and kind of determine what those criteria or guidelines will be that have a little more flexibility than what some of these government ones may be, to specifically do this, to help people in kind of specific areas of life or specific communities.
And what that means in a nutshell is that it's not going to be bundled up and sold on the secondary market,
The bank
so
will
that the
keep
bank doesn't have to follow those guidelines, and they're actually going to be the service provider for that or service that loan.
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
And just to inform the listeners, who is a secondary market?
Great. So secondary market, basically, I don't want to take all the time in explaining, but if your loan goes ahead and is sold to these government groups called, we've probably heard them on the radio, definitely in the news, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, what happens is that mortgage is actually then sold out as like an investment opportunity. So it's kind of this circulation of money, with the idea being that when it's sold, that brings in money to these government groups. They then give that money back to the bank, so the bank can just keep giving loans, keep making that American dream happen.
Right on. Trying to get my engineer's attention here. How does that tie into banking in general? You talked about the secondary market.
Sure.
It's my understanding that
Yeah.
they're selling off those loan packages to liquidate that money now, so you can make more loans.
Exactly. So, I mean, there are some large banks in the world, but if you figure that all that money that those banks have is going to mortgages, which can be hundreds of thousands of dollars a piece, they're lending them to finance some of these great buildings like we have, sitting here behind us. That's a lot of money. You'll dry up eventually. So what happens is whenever money is given out for a purchase or a refinance, whatever that may be, that loan is then gone ahead and sold back to this government group. So the bank then gets cash back that they can, boom, go out and refinance, get more. Do more
Tanner,
loans to
is
help
that
people.
is that what we call the Federal Reserve requirement is for a bank that needs to have, or is that something that I don't know, for some reason it kind of went in my mind, because I don't know where I heard it, but I know that a bank needs to require a certain amount of money in their branch.
It's deposit reserves, isn't it? There has to be some deposit reserves.
That's right. And there's changes to that, but basically a bank has to be what you call, if we're going to dig out finance terms, well capitalized. So just like if we take the example from a bank to just like a person, if I'm really dedicated on being an investor and I've gone out and I've gotten a loan for this duplex and for my own personal home and a car for my wife, car for my kid, car for myself, I mean, you may have all this money out in payments and loans, but if you don't have anything in the savings account and basically you're just waiting for your paycheck to come in and all of it goes out to pay those things, you're not really well capitalized. All it takes is being sick one time or, missing a paycheck and that house of cards could kind of tumble a little bit.
Yeah.
So banks need to keep some of those reserves on hand. Yeah.
Kind of like the debt to income ratios.
Pink slip away, man. I'll tell you.
Pink slip away.
What about?
And that's one of the hearings I've heard before, when a lot of people were losing their home and people versus one having and one not, And I would hear a lot of people saying, "I'm just one mortgage away from being homeless, just like you," So it's like
that one.
I'm just one mortgage away from being
You're just waiting
homeless.
for the banker to show up at your door and give you the pink slip. Here you go. Make sure you get all your stuff out, please. And what about commercial financing?
Commercial financing.
Yeah. I mean, can I go to a bank and get commercial financing?
Alex, you absolutely can. In fact, it's something that I know at U.S. Bank in particular, we're really looking to get out. We talk about being a face in the community, and a big part of that is getting in front of business owners and saying, hey, we can help you chop off some of that interest rate or help you own your own building. Tired of having that lease, having to, always kind of bid to the doing of your landlord, or maybe your landlord makes you fix everything that goes wrong with the building anyway? Why not go ahead and own it? So absolutely.
See, that's interesting because, we the way we started the show, we were talking about, we want to get in and out. As a matter of fact, ATMs have made that very convenient where you could just kind of go get your cash. You're not even bothering a person, and you can get it 24 hours a day. And Alonso had mentioned about, just wanting to get in and out, get your check deposited, get the cash that you want because you're going out to dinner or whatever the case is.
I mean, some banks even make it more easier. They have the drive-through,
yeah,
drive-through.
Right.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, your branch has a drive-through,
I've
doesn't
got
it?
two of them. Drive-through ATM.
With those crazy tubes, they got those vacuum tubes that go up there.
It's not only getting a burger at a drive-through now. It's like going and doing your banking at a drive-through banking now too.
That's right. That's a real Happy Meal, is getting a couple of Benjamins in that tube.
Oh,
Right?
can you imagine? Yeah. Well, on the show here, we call them greenbacks.
Oh.
Right? But so we've talked about banking here in the community. The opportunity that you've been given here now from the bank to get out into the community and put a name to a face, if you will, U.S. Bank. Well, I think of Tanner right away, and that's because I know you. Okay. Mm-hmm. And what about some other products? I mean, we talk about mortgages and commercial financing, but what about some other products that maybe I don't know about? Something that the banks have out there that I think the general public should know about.
Yeah,
well, one of them that comes to mind is that how about people that don't have social security card, and they're kind of skeptical of trying to open up a bank account. Well, do you guys have some of that kind of programs where you can go out there and with an ITIN number or other form of ID or get a bank account?
That's a great question. Probably, I mean, many listeners may have those, same kind of questions. But
Those are all issues.
I say that because I still see, I ask people, that are trying to get a home loan, and I deal a lot with the Hispanic community, and where do you have your money at? And they're pulling out in the other shirt,
It's in their mattress.
Don't you believe in banks? And they don't know. Well, I don't. They're really not
it's in their mattress,
or they're kind of skeptical that that they're not informed, they're not well informed. So can you tell us about these programs that are out there for people that are scared to do banking and kind of more put them at ease, because that's what we try to provide. We try to provide a public service for our listeners.
Absolutely, and there's many great benefits that a bank provide in that. So yeah, you can, if you have an ITIN, just so long as you've informed the person you're opening an account with, you can open an account with that. And in fact, in terms of IDs, I mean, there's different. There's everything, of course, is going to be okayed by the government. But even if you don't have a driver's license, things like the matricula cards, can be used. I know, at least in terms of our institution, as a way of photo ID for opening an account. So there's flexibility. There's options to reach people at all sort of stages and all sort of communities. And I think of one thing that is, it really kind of makes me shed a tear sometimes is, people who just take their paycheck and run to a check casher, they could be paying 5-6% of their paycheck just away. Why not get 100% of everything that you worked for? By
And that's
your bank account?
that's because they believe that they cannot get a bank account. So that's one of the things we want to inform the public, that yes, you can go out with your matricula consular and go get get a bank account, open a bank account. Don't be paying those high fees on cashing your check. It's your hard money earned, where you could get, like you said, 100% in return of your money.
And something you guys also know is important is whenever you're looking at a loan, you have to often show, like, hey, if this is my down payment, this is how long that I've had it. And let me give you a bank statement that shows this was the balance this month, the month before. And if you're not banked, you don't have that ability to show that paper trail.
Now we have that paper trail where, sometimes it's required up to 12 months, 24 months of bank statements. And, for people that are just going to those cashing places and cashing their checks, we don't have that, so it makes it a little bit harder for us to get them into a home, their American dream. That's why they, a lot of them end up running back to Mexico, and they don't live out their American dream.
That's right. And
well, they don't want to be here anymore.
California not that bad, but I know in Arizona a lot of them fled due to I don't want to say, but
things weren't as good.
They weren't as good as in California, So good thing we're not in Arizona, huh, Alex?
Yes. Well, we are coming up on the end of the show, Mr. Tanner. Thank you for joining us.
Hey, it's been a pleasure.
I will mention Mr. Tanner Gish, again, branch manager here at U.S. Bank in Whittier. You can reach him at 562-698-2525. You can also email Tanner at tanner.gish@usbank.com. U.S. Bank does have a website. It's www.usbank.com. And the website has a lot of good information, a lot of what we talked about here on the show about the FDIC, also about Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, the secondary market, and how those particular institutions function with the banks, and what advantage there is to banking now with a large bank corporation.
Absolutely.
So Tanner will be happy to answer your questions on that. Again, Tanner, thanks for joining us here on the show.
So no mas storing your money under the mattress, huh?
I would advise against it. Grandma, it's about time to jump out of the old ways and let's get into the new ways.
Saca el dinero del colchón.
Yeah, absolutely. And throw it out there. Next week on the show, we're going to have Ladybug Termite. With Kim Praster and Diego, the owner of Ladybug Termite. We oddly enough, we've done about 25 shows. I think this is number 24.
And guess what, Alex? 25. And guess what, Alex? You still haven't received your pink slip.
I'm waiting for. Yeah, I thought maybe Mr. Pantalones was going to say something, but they will be with us on the show next week. And there you go. Give us a call, 855-693-4897. That'll be next Wednesday at 10 o'clock. Please join us here on the Rant Radio Network.
Thanks for having me.
Stay tuned for Indy 104. Thanks for tuning in to Real Estate Rant Radio.
Make sure to join us every Wednesday at 10 a.m.
on the Rant Radio Network, where we talk about solutions to your real estate problems. The views and opinions expressed by the host or any guest on this show are encouraged to be followed up by a professional tax advisor or attorney, as we are not qualified or authorized to give advice in two areas: legal matters and tax matters.